Yeah, no, I know it's every time I do chat. Hey guys, hold on. Let me fix that so that you don't. It just auto types that every time I do subscriber mode only. I'm not really sure why. So I figured I would update that for you guys. Yeah, if I don't do subscriber mode, it doesn't do it. So imagine that. Welcome. So that it's a good sort of precursor to what's going on to the channel, with the channel, and what has been happening. There's a lot of different things happening, a lot of variables. I'm going to show you a few things today. I'm going to show you some screenshots, some evidence, and we're going to talk about what's been happening these past few years and actually piece it all together in a understandable fashion so that anybody watching doesn't have to go back to this video, this video, this video, this video. You can actually figure it out. It's not going to be that hard. Yeah, I know. We're going to get buffering, probably. So just be prepared for that. Hold on. Be prepared for us to get buffering and for them to screw around with it again, like they sort of kind of have been. So anyway, here we go. So the past few years, as you guys know, especially once we cleaned up and made things a lot cleaner looking for the setup and stuff like that. I was just trying to go more of a sort of streamlined look, if that makes sense. I know some people actually have complimented and told me they liked the way things looked before and stuff like that. They thought it was really cool, and I liked it too. But I just wanted to. It's a lot of upkeep to do it that way. So you have to realize that when you have a bunch of stuff organized on a shelf, you have to dust it, you have to clean it, you have to arrange it that way. It's gonna you do stuff, it's gonna you have to do those things. So it's just much easier to streamline and reduce. So anyway, that is a little bit of a precursor to this too. Like a lot of this will be, okay? So what started happening was I was talking about I have a good bullshit detector. Okay? Let's start with that. I have a good BS detector, and people have kind of rationalized this. I can analyze things, I know what a problem is, and I can state it pretty simply. So most people can't do that. Most people, I think, actually, the most educated people can have good problem-solving capabilities, but they actually sort of have trouble then manifesting what's actually the root cause. So while they might be able to sit here and talk about certain things having to do with what they've learned from it, they still might not know like a root cause. And they might not necessarily be able to explain this to themselves. They just know why these things happen because they've kind of learned it about their lives or themselves and stuff like that. So I can do that very simply for a lot of people, and I have sort of been doing that. I'm sure some of you have noticed that. Or you might come on here and I state something, and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, it basically is how it is, isn't it? And maybe it's not even how you looked at it before like that. And then you kind of wonder why I don't have any more subscribers, why I don't have views and stuff like that. I would rationalize that, even. Like, I don't expect it to be the most viewed content creator on the planet, but, I obviously can do what I'm doing. So, something's going on, right? Yeah, so basically, since I have this good BS detector, a lot of companies had started to recognize that I was talking about the real problems. Some of these problems being that the new engines were going to be crap. I called it before it came out. And I called the fact that, again, while I sit here and I like NVIDIA, I also rationalize that they have problems too, just as Amazon has problems, just as Walmart has problems, just as Trump administration has problems. Everybody's got problems. But how do you fix that? You know, again, my message is always communicate. And it always was. Is that people don't know how to do that anymore. And so there was these scammers that were kind of following me around, trying to ruin this, reaching into my life, you know, getting very personal and stuff like that at times. And we're going to show you some screenshots. But we're not going to get really into that. We're going to get into the more technical side of things. So what I was talking about was FPS. I was talking about how we were heading into a world where they weren't optimizing for higher FPSs, and everything was just being fixed by CPU, which is, you know, stuff that's really intensive to do and really hard to do. So why would you do that? Why would you? And it was almost like there was this culture even on YouTube where the more I talked about this, the more I got diminished. So I was starting to put FPS counter on the screen, you know, talking about this with new games that were coming out. I talked about how Starfield launched, and I liked it. I really wanted to like it, but it was a complete absolute disaster, launching somewhere between 30 and 40 FPS, even on PC. And I was sitting there playing plenty of other games that, like Cyberpunk and stuff like that, that were running 120. When I'm not streaming, you know, like at the time, 165. So that's what I was rationalizing. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Obviously, when Cyberpunk looks better, and that can do all this FPS, but this other game that just came out. So I started, you know, rationalizing that a lot of this stuff is the fact that Microsoft just controls the market. You know, because everything's on a Windows system. You don't do gaming on a... Let's be honest, you don't do gaming on a Mac anymore. I'm not trying to bust a Mac. Like, you can. I'm just saying you don't. You know, again, it's just Windows, you know? So how do we fix this problem? I've tried to give solutions to these problems, but it feels like the companies don't like me providing my very simple solution when they could have just... it makes them look bad, quite frankly. So, all while seemingly sitting here doing exactly some of the things I suggested to fix some of the problems on YouTube, YouTube's been attacking my channel and suppressing me, all while doing some of those things. So like a while back, the processing for your streams was a complete nightmare. There's never any way of knowing the progress of when it started, when it ended. You know, like just like all these things. And so, you know, like the whole point is that whoever is in charge of the reporting system is just a complete bumbling fool. And doesn't take any reporting seriously. Completely just... So, something tells me, and because of what they were able to get away with, something tells me whoever handles the report system at YouTube is somebody further up. And it shouldn't be the case. So, that's what's happening. Somebody further up hears what I'm saying, and they're literally just tanking my channel. So anyway, Um, my answer was, again, you can take. It's just like when I sit here and I talk about playing, games from like 2014, 2016, stuff like that, and I talk about how file size is a big one. Why is it that your games get bogged down and stuff like that? And I just talked about this recently. Most people don't realize that most of the, even on console these days, if you don't have a set amount of space on your hard drive, everything's bogged down. You cannot run a game properly. Even on a console, this actually happens. And it's formatting. It's because everything is in NTFS. We're still on these formats that we've been using for, I don't even know how long. How long did it take us to get over FAT32? Now, here's the crazy part. We still use FAT32. And do you know why? This is why flash drives can only have files so big. You ever try to put like a big file on a flash drive? Do you know why you can't? Oh, the format, it tells you that. It's because it's FAT32. FAT32 can only handle up to like 2 gigs or something like that. So we're capped. Nobody's evolving. Nobody's producing more. They're capping us. Why? So I talked about, again, you can do this. You can coding with Vulkan is one way. We all know that. So, like, the point is, I had intelligent solutions to these things that I was stating. Somebody was, like, really, really making sure that you weren't hearing that. Depleting my views, causing... Now, again, I have some stuff for you to look at. What's been happening lately. But, there's a lot of different companies that I think have been convinced much like what I was saying, where they're trying to stop me from educating people. I think part of the reason for this is because they convince the companies that people are not smart, don't know what they want. And so therefore the companies will play ball with doing messy stuff with your data. So the whole point is, when I come on here and I'm trying to educate you on how to be better with deciding about products and how to not be bumbling fools with, like, so easily. They are. Everybody's on here doing a 2 PC setup, and I was one of the only ones doing a 1 PC setup at the time. It's different now, obviously. At the time, though, people are kind of like, "How are you doing that?" Obviously, I realize now it's not the case, so that's why it's funny. But at the time, yeah. So again, a lot of it is talking about the technical side that I was trying to get out there for the longest time is most people don't realize that on a PC, you have a certain amount of like space, like a terabyte or 2 terabytes. You need a good 400 or 500 gigs of free space, and most people don't want to admit that. They really think it's fantasy. I remember I convinced somebody of this the one time, and they just argued and argued and argued, and sure enough, I think it was a few months later, they did what I had suggested and didn't want to really admit to it, but didn't proceed to have any of the problems they were describing anymore. So, it's even console. based, where again, if you're just filling up the drive, how can the drive cache properly? Again, just because it's solid state doesn't mean it still doesn't need to do that. Do you understand what I'm saying? It still has to be able to transfer information somehow. So if there's no space to do that, and you're just filling it up, this is the problem. Most people don't know how this stuff works. So I was on here trying to be not... Everybody, you're stupid. Because I get it. I get it, people don't know about this stuff. Most people aren't going to grow up learning how to tear apart a computer. They don't learn that stuff. No. It's just not something, you know, I mean, Counter-Strike LAN parties. I mean, come on, man. Yeah, I was the dude that played Warcraft 3 Frozen Throne LAN parties. Come on, man. Of course I did. Of course I sat there and I had PCs that I put together because I wanted them. I wanted them for that. I played StarCraft 2, all that stuff. So I remember what it was like, and I remember at a certain point around the mid-2000s somewhere. We'll just say it was somewhere around 2015-ish, 16, somewhere around that area. That things just took a turn. It was almost like all these companies all of a sudden wanted to flash a bunch of product ideas at you that weren't finished. Ray tracing came out, wasn't ready. It was just trash. It was trash. It's still trash because again, it wasn't ready, and games tried to implement it, thinking and trusting NVIDIA with that. It was trash. I went up to it. It didn't do what it was supposed to do. It just literally crashed games initially. Period. They tried to say the 3 series could run it, and it just could not. And needed a 4 series. And again, if you need to do that, the technology's not ready. It's not optimized. So then why the hell are you releasing it? Why are we looking at that? Why not fix the problems with, oh, I don't know, ambient occlusion? Ambient occlusion has had problems ever since it came out. So why the hell wouldn't you fix the problems with that? And you can move on to... What? So wait. You never fixed optimization issues with shadows in the first place. Now you want to trace everything? This is the stuff that I was saying. They're trying to remove my views and stuff like that. They were freaking out, man. Now, the whole point was I was giving it to these companies, not to you guys. And they wanted to flip that crap on me. You know, they ruined some of the connections that I had, you know, and stuff like that. The hard work that I had put in. So, again, I'm just here to share some of this with you so you know what is happening. And what has been happening to me for aggressively the past couple of years. I put 2 because... arguably there was some things before that were in play, but it's hard to say that wasn't a separate thing that has anything related to this. So we'll just say that for now. What's been going on here, this is kind of a little bit more recent than when I first started. So we can go over some screenshots here, but I want to assure you that some of these Windows unupdating and stuff like that, some of the stuff that that sounds like conspiracy, I realize that when I say it to somebody that's not experiencing it, it's going to sound like that for sure. Um, rest assured that, like, I look at everything like a logical point of view. I would investigate and want to have all these reasons why something is happening before I go to the craziest assumption about something. So again, it's never going to be an assumption. It is going to be based on what my knowledge is of those situations, and deductions can be. With that being said, I am sorry over my throat today. We got some coffee, so all right. A game should not be more than like 40 gigs. It just shouldn't be. There's no reason for that. They can do that. So why are games 150? Or something like that. That's absurd. So, and again, continually, now we have no native resolution anymore. They're forcing more technologies, DLSS, which then again now uses even more CPU, relying on something else. Where again. So, here's my theory. You can say what you want, but we've heard stories about how Amazon data centers and stuff like that cause people to lose power and stuff. Now, I've looked into that around here. Okay. It's not the case. However, one thing I will say, though, is that is happening, and it's happening with other companies, too. Like, you have to realize while that's happening, the whole point is that that's what you heard about that's happening. So then that means, what haven't you heard about where this is happening in another company or something like that? That's what you got to rationalize. It's happening. So if you've heard about it from one, that means it's just generally it's happening. That's a logical conclusion. Other people are doing this. If it's happening, other people are doing it because they can. So, what are they doing? They are successfully connecting everybody's data again so that the system has instantly a huge data record of basically any person that they want. Instead of this being something where, again, your data is private, they would ultimately, of course, want more storage and want to store data. So, hence data centers, again, and they shouldn't be doing this. They shouldn't be storing more of your data, and then taking your energy to do it. So here's my theory. What they were doing was they don't know anything about PCs or anything at all. They really don't. They have no clue. These people that do this, again, they wear suits. They've never played a video game, probably beyond Oregon Trail. Nothing wrong with that. But, let's be honest, they haven't played anything. Okay? I said that because it's a really old game. They haven't played anything. Yeah, they don't know anything about this shit. So these idiots, somebody convinced them Somebody convinced your grand old party that rips everything from you. You know, again, we already know what they get up to. So again, somebody to make money off of it convinced them that all these streamers and all these people that use these PCs, you know, they got 2 video cards. You know, they don't know. They don't know that it's literally like, sometimes you can, if you know what you're doing, you can get that thing down to like house fan electricity. You know, like it literally does not use much. And somebody has convinced these idiots that, you know, all the electricity, it's not all the people, it's not all the ever-growing problem of the fact that we didn't do solar like Obama wanted and he undid. We didn't do the wind farms like we should because, you know, they cause cancer apparently. And, you know, we didn't keep doing this. We just went backwards with our energy, and somebody convinced these retards that it's the gamers. It's all the people sitting at home using their gains and their dirt. This shit plugs into a wall outlet. If I'm using any more fucking electricity than I need to, I gotta have a special plug, you retards. Yeah, if I'm using more electricity than that fucking 220 that's going out of that fucking wall, I gotta use a special plug, you retards. Why do you think I'm using... And this, so like, this is the point. This is what they do. They get convinced by these people that it's the gamers and all the people that are sitting there playing their game. Okay, how many of these assholes do you think probably have an automatic vacuum, have probably 5 TVs running, probably about a dozen phone chargers in their house, probably have all kinds of things in the garage that their maintenance people plug in, and batteries and shit like that, yet they don't interact with these things because, you know, they don't need to do work in real life, so they don't know how anything actually works anymore. All they do is go to the office and go home. Wouldn't it be fucking nice? So anyway, yeah, these people, they don't know how anything works. So they just think, you know, all these people are using all this energy and stuff, and they're just blaming, you know, it's because it's Amazon. It's Walmart. It's, you know, again, these things are everywhere. Okay, I'm not saying that's a problem. I'm saying you have to deal with it. Donald Trump, the guy that wants these things and supports billionaires and is not a conservative by any means, Donald Trump, since you want these big companies and you want to make them happy, then you need to stop sitting here and being all butthurt just because somebody wanted to do solar and it was a good fucking idea and you didn't do it. So you're all fucking whining about the fact that you didn't think about this and you want to take credit for it because Obama did it, and you want to take credit for everything that man did because you're a racist, narcissistic piece of shit. So how about, instead of doing what you are doing because you're a goddamn fucking asshole, how about you actually run the country and fix these fucking problems? How about you actually put pressure on NVIDIA to develop and properly develop their technology instead of moving on to the next thing? Because that's what you should be fucking doing. Because NVIDIA needs pressure on them, not streamers on YouTube. Asshole. Like, you gotta realize that's what this motherfucker is. He's using the resources for that. Because his grand old party is sitting here going, duh, it's them. Swear to God, this is probably really how it actually works. And Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk know exactly how this shit works and could fucking tell him, but they ain't. That's why you gotta look at Elon Musk a little certain way. By the way, this is what you do. You create. You don't have to insult them. Just change their name a little bit. They can't stand that shit. Oh no, really? That pisses them off because it's like he has such a cool name, and it is very masculine. So like when you change it, Elon Musk. Oh my God. That's what you got to do. Elon Musk. Take it. I don't care. I'd love to hear Jon Stewart say that'd be funny as shit. We're going to go over some screenshots, but that reminds me, before I forget, I am very sorry. Connecting the data. Let me get to that. Let me get to that for you. So, yes, The Daily Show, yes, they're involved too. Everybody's involved. So, remember how I said they've been adding features to YouTube as an internal message to themselves? So, ICE and other illegal authorities that are under the federal jurisdiction, basically, I call them illegal authorities because they're being misused. That's why I say that. So basically the illegal authorities under like the federal jurisdiction, what they're doing is they're kind of like sneakily kind of going in and trying to connect the data points so that if I were watching, that's why they broke the VPN. And we're trying to sit here and ban them. Because the VPN for OperaJex is so good, they were like, who the hell has this VPN that it's this good? God, it's so illegal what they're doing. So anyway, you already know what I'm getting at. They're putting trackers so that as soon as I watch The Daily Show, they would infect me with malicious data. So it's trying to block the ads for this purpose. I'm not trying to not watch the ads. I'm the guy that sat here and used to watch tons of ads for the purpose of trying to support people. I used to do that all the time for Zach Wild, Black Label Society. I would literally type it in on purpose in the search because it gives it more. Find it, watch the ads. I would do this on purpose. Because it supports them. And then, you maybe see a funny or cool ad or whatever. But the whole point is now the ads are bad. It's always the same ad and they're always malicious. And it's always that dumb ad where it's that lady talking about her breasts. So anyway, it's just like uncomfortable ads too. So like this is the point. Like, why would I see that? The whole point you're supposed to recognize this ad doesn't make any sense for me. Why would I? And then they're forcing like me to see this ad like a million times. These companies would be pissed if they found that out. They don't want me to like that. They have money invested in that, and they're trying to, like I don't even remember what it was now. Like I literally like I'll mute that fucking thing. I'm like, oh great. It's just so awkward. So anyway, yeah, that got him out of here, didn't it? So basically, what they've been doing is, again, as soon as I would watch some other channel, they infect that with the malicious data ad. I watch it, the data stream goes into me, and it connects those data points. So now, any single time I would ever watch something from that channel, that's why a certain channel I had to do certain things, and I'm still kind of doing some things here and there to keep it, because they're being very malicious, very, very malicious. So I'm gonna show you a couple things here. I got a couple screenshots specifically talking about that too, dealing with that. So we'll go over that. But yeah, the the Prism hack, that's what that was basically. Some sort of form of ad that they got to activate in like Windows or NVIDIA drivers. Like basically, whenever I install something, I used to always sit here and install. That's what they're trying to figure out. I always used to sit. They were like, "How the heck does he have NVIDIA, but we can't send him ads?" Because I always used to be smart about it, not install the stupid experience thing. And so, you know, like, that's the whole point. Like, they want to bog your system down and extend, you know, and I even remember the days, remember Entune? Remember you couldn't even get the performance tab until you installed Entune? I remember those days, too. So NVIDIA, like, had to block people because they were screwing up their setup, so they didn't know how to use, they didn't know how to use the, that's the old way of, when NVIDIA couldn't get your, so on the old systems, your GPU fan wouldn't turn on all the way when you would load a game, and holy crap. And so you would have to go in there and you'd have to manually, and so like, you know what I'm saying? So trust me, I know my way around that stuff. So they just sat here and made it like just like with Windows 11 with Copilot and all these things that run AI and always on internet connections. The whole point is to spy on you. Not in the sense of like, you know, like a covert op or anything like that. You know, it's just more like if they can learn any little piece of information that AI can detect as useful for advertising and yeah, like there's a ton of things. Habits. Habits are a big one. Do you really want companies learning your habits? Like your routines and stuff? That's habitual things, like keeping a log of habitual things of people. That's invasion of privacy on so many levels. So, just want to remind you of that. Okay. Let's look at some screenshots. What has been happening? Appreciate you guys being here for this. Oh, also let me state for the record that there are some channels that I do believe that somebody is trying to intentionally cause a rift between us, so I just pretend to troll you and pretend like they've already done this or something like that. Just don't pay any mind to it. I won't sit here and mention you by name. I won't. It's just to confuse the trolls. And sometimes it's just funny. So try to laugh at it. It's just a little bit of a joke sometimes. Like you just have to laugh at it a little bit. It's not to pick on anybody. Okay, so okay. Trying to decide if I should say what channel I saw this on. Maybe I should. This is when I decided that they were trying to do malicious things, because again, I saw this and it was right when the stream had been posted and it was recommended to me literally on the page, you know, that home page, and it was the sort of thing where it had the video had just been uploaded. It's like a minute ago, and then these comments were on there, and I'm like, yeah, that's a little too convenient. So, alright, let me show you. I think I blocked these out. I think I blocked them out. This is the porn on YouTube. So this is when I went to somebody's channel just to watch their And this was David Pakman. He's just a political guy, journalist, I guess he'd call himself. He's an author. He's definitely an author. He has a channel, a great channel, love his channel, but like flat out, and I reported them, but this is the stuff where I started seeing this, where again, it had just been posted and these comments were constant. So it's like, is this guy getting spammed with this? Is this what he's dealing with behind the scenes that he's not talking about? Are you kidding? I got this crap too, and then they started causing problems for my channel after I literally started talking about the fact that right when I first started, people were spamming malicious porn links in my chat. Just spamming it, trying to get people to click it. Like, what the heck? So this picture that you see here, this is obviously just a scammer. And obviously you can see, you know, July 28th, 2025. That was that day, I think, or, you know, like around then. But obviously I blocked out the nudity. And as you can see, one of the channels, see how there's another channel there? I had to block out the nudity of that one because she was nude. And flat out, they already had, as you can see, 272 subscribers. So, like, the damage is done. Anybody that, like, they get with this, where it's a person that doesn't know any better, you know, something like that. They're just taking advantage of people. And they get somebody with this, yeah, they're scammed. The moment they would subscribe, the moment they would interact, they're scammed. That's messed up. So that was what I was seeing, and again, that wasn't the only one. I saw this. This was another one. Same channel, same time period. Like, literally all these. And, like, look at the name. It's like, yeah, you can tell it's like an Indian scammer or something like that. You know, like, looks kind of arguably sort of, yeah, like, it just, if you would try to pronounce that, it would sort of sound a little bit, I think it would, except for the Sturkenberg. I don't know what the heck that is, but the first part, maybe it's just random. It could just be random. Could just be like, you know, I could be jumping to conclusions. Let me see here. Profiling. My bad. Alright. Hey, I admitted it. And I called it out and I said, could be just this. That's what you should do. Okay. Yeah. Is this the same one? Oh no, this is the 272 subscribers one. So, like, if you see the picture that I'm blocking with the pop-up, if you see the like, look at this. Like, what is that? Come on. YouTube. And this was right when he had posted his video. So this was to detrend the video right when he would post it. You know, like, this will cause problems for his processing and his video right as he's posting it. Remember, I saw this right as it's posted, and it's like spam comments, and he might not even see it right away. I've already pointed out the fact that a lot of times you'll get a comment sitting there for months that's hiding under, like, the top comments or something like that. And it's some nasty thing that's sitting there for months. Look at this. More. This was complete, like, this was nudity right here. I had to block that out. Again, it was not blocked out. All these white bars are me blocking it out. Okay, these were nude pictures. Yep. So again, and this one had 610 subscribers, so that's bad. I mean, this is insane, this many. And then this is the comment, these are the comments those channels were leaving. So, not the first one. That first one is not, that's like a normal comment. I only did that to show you like that there's a normal comment there. So the other comments. So it's these. Okay. And then I realized what that was showing, and I moved it off quick. So I gotta black that one out too. I gotta do that. I didn't realize that one was showing that. But so anyway, that was what I saw, where they were starting to sit here and cause problems for people like myself that had just posted a stream or just finished a stream or something like that, trying to do an upload, and they're trying to cause a problem for it with spamming. So, oh, it's so gross. So anyway, blah. Let me. Okay, so this is, remember how I said that I had sort of a stalker following me around, and YouTube has a problem with scammers and stuff like that. So this is a screenshot from when they were impersonating. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is when somebody threatened threatened in my chat. So as you can see there, somebody's making threats in my chat. Let's see. Actually, hold on. Let me find it. Oh, here it is. I think I found it. I think. Hold on, hold on. Not that one. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out which one this is. What the heck? Where is it? There it is. So this is when they were impersonating Pierogi from Scammer Payback. And if you'll draw your attention to the like button, you'll see people are already trying to remove likes really, really quick, like right away. Because they knew sort of where I was going with this. I have blacked out some personal information of somebody that was being doxxed. But this is when the scammer was in my chat impersonating Pierogi from Scammer Payback and typing in my chat. So, he was saying, pretending he was Pierogi from Scammer Payback, saying, "Chat, we okay, is this ginger going crazy?" And again, impersonating Pierogi from Scammer Payback while saying these things. Then again says, "Damn, your granddad old is hell." Again, trying to pretend that they are Pierogi from Scammer Payback. And, again, you know, saying, you know, "Hi, Alex, it's your grandpop. How have you been? My black children have been so bad. I wish I had you as a son. You are so tight and grippy. I remember the first time we did it together, but don't worry, I won't tell. So as you can see, just a scammer trying to, say sexual things in my chat, along with what I just showed you, where they're just scammers posting very inappropriate sexual, like, pornography and stuff like that. And Scammer Payback has warned about this before, about, how they sort of do this type of thing. This is what they get all the time. When a scammer wants to mess with them, they will sit there and they will literally just show them a bunch of porn and get it to, like essentially if they get breached and they have an issue or something on stream, that's what they've talked about has happened to them too. So again, this is a very real big problem that YouTube's not dealing with and hasn't been dealing with. And I've been trying to tell you guys this is a big problem. So now, again, my point was to try to organize this so that you can see it for yourself here, okay? This is not the first time that somebody impersonated Pierogi from Scammer Payback in my chat, too. And it's very clear that well, I'm not going to say the threats that have been made, but you guys, I'm sure, remember, when I educated you about that, and I'm not going to say it ever again, and it doesn't need to be said anymore, but it's very clear to me that YouTube is trying to facilitate not paying people, and will absolutely try to get people unalived for the sake of saving money. Yes, I do believe that, and I do believe they don't care who it is. Yes. So yes, Asmongold was right. I'm pretty sure he said something to that effect at one point. So yeah, he was right. But I mean, he just said it more as a generalization. Like it was sort of like, well, Twitch will just go after you. YouTube? Yeah. So, just throwing it out there that I've been warning everybody about this stuff, and the more I warn, the more I show evidence, they bury the stream. They lie about it. So we're going to show you a couple of those. We're going to show you examples of times where you can obviously see that they lied about views. Now, we know that there was an outage recently for, a few seconds, and conveniently I lost a bunch of screenshots. But I still have some. So, I'm going to go ahead and show them to you. And again, if you really think that they're not going to sit here and do that type of thing just for the sake of covering up evidence, are you kidding? Alright. Let me get this up for you. Let's see. This is pretty conclusive. I think this was... Alright. So this was a little bit ago. As you can see here, we've talked about this one before, but this was back in February of last year, and this was a 6-hour stream where I'm in the vertical feed. You can see a second concurrent in there. And you can see how they're capping the views for the whole stream. You see how they're just capped at 1? Doesn't even make any sense. And on the average view duration says 18 seconds. 64 views, 18 seconds. Huh? And then just cap it at 1. So, if you also remember, this is the UI they changed. Remember how I told you they changed the UI of the control room? If you see here, you can see everything. You can very clearly see all of it. And it's right in front of you. And it's like, oh, wow, look at all that. So, of course, they took that off and put it on the screen with the stream key. So if you would ever try to show evidence now, you link your stream key. And then they just go in right into that stream. They know the exact stream. Just go right in and fuck with it. That's why they did that. Why the fuck else would they do that? Why would they put a gigantic preview as this area on the top? You know, the area on the top with all the information. Why would they put that as a gigantic preview, but now have everything else? They have that information in the stream settings instead of there in the control room. They have that in the stream settings. Again, where your settings are for the stream, your stream key and stuff like that. Oh, yeah. Oh. But again, you made the other screen an entire preview for what? What purpose does that serve? So I can watch it? What? So this is again pretty conclusive, where I was sitting here documenting, kind of showing what was happening, talking about it, and just like before, they start changing things about the UI and change so that it looks different. It just looks, maybe made up or something like that. But obviously we all know how this looked for X amount of time. I mean, I had it on the stream live. There's plenty of examples of that. Alright, let's see. Alright, so this is recent. Let's talk about this. This is a screenshot that I took of not too long ago of when they sat here and missed one of the streams. So this is what they did. They know what they did. They were sitting here trying very hard to remove all the views everybody was giving me and trying to give me while they were moving them. You guys, it was working until you stopped. And I was documenting it, and I was getting a whole bunch of screenshots, and they got me to lose them somehow. So I have some. I'm going to show you something here. And I do still have some. But yeah, that was what happened a bunch of those times where like with the with some of them it was really obvious because some people, like, the stream had like 30,000 views, and then they took it down to like 50, and I was like, are you kidding me? That's money. So that's what you got to understand. That would piss people off. So let me show you this. This was recently. This was only just the other day. So after I did that Dark Souls 3 stream, see how there's 2.6 thousand views on that? I want you to go ahead and look at that. See how there's 2.6 thousand views posted on a stream 16 hours ago? 16 hours from when I took the screenshot. So there's 2.6 thousand. Now if you also look to the stream that is next to it, where I'm talking about power companies being breached and stuff like that. Oh, conveniently, we had 415 views. I bet those views got removed too. So you see what happens. I talk about a very real problem, something that's actually happening. And I get horribly attacked and suppressed all over again. So the whole point is they might stop for X amount of time to make it seem legit. You know, where they throw some views at something. And then start doing it again. Once they cause that effect. Cause and effect. So, if you see again that 2.6 thousand views from the Dark Souls 3 stream, if I were to go look at that now, I'll be willing to bet it says probably less than 100. That's what they've been doing. They've been doing less than 100. They just take it down to less than 3 digits. Yep. And I had 4 digits. See? 2.6 thousand. And again, the stream previous of that was 415 views. I'll bet that lost views too. And then you see the other ones next to it where they seem low view count too, so they had already gotten to those. So, and the uploads, that's why, again, the uploads, they're very easy. I upload those, so they just install something into them to control the viewership. So that's why those things halt. They literally just decide the views of your upload. They sit there and they go, okay, I think it should deserve this amount. Because they're literally lying about views. Because, again, YouTube is getting view-botted and scammed and horribly breached so bad, and they don't want to admit it, that they can't count the views. They just can't do it. They don't want to admit it, and it's all fraud. And YouTube is a pyramid scheme. And that's what I was talking about at the beginning. Where basically it is a pyramid scheme. It is. And it's one of the biggest ones out there. And so they've been trying to kill anybody that sits here and talks about making money off YouTube and stuff like that. If you talk about that, they're going to kill your channel. Because they don't want to acknowledge that they're a pyramid scheme. That you could come on here, waste years, and you're not going to get anywhere because they have an issue with breaches and view botting. And they're not doing anything about it. They're just capitalizing on it. Even though it's all lies. Yeah, there you go. And so now it's fraud. Again, the whole point is none of the views matter. They're just deciding what they are, all while giving money to these scammers that are doing this. So who the fuck knows who's doing this? I'll bet it has something to do with the fact that all these scammers can just randomly pop up out of nowhere and seemingly have all these streams in the live feed using all these women. It's terrible. Yeah. Because again, how the fuck else? Why is that happening? Why is the live feed on YouTube full of Indian women being grabbed, bouncing up and down while laying on the floor? Why is that? Again, I have sat here and tried to show that doesn't seem normal. And then they sit here and they try to break the feed. I sat here and I showed you my entire history. So you know that I'm not watching content. Like, I'm not looking for it. And first of all, that'd be hard to find. Because, again, these are channels in India. So it shouldn't even show up when I search for it. Even if I had searched for something like that, it shouldn't even show up. It doesn't even make any sense. I would have to know Arabic, basically. Yeah, I'd have to sit here and be able to type that, and it doesn't even make any sense. And so, like, the point is, I was showing that. I showed my entire, like, view history the one time. I was, like, going through, I was like, look, it's all political. So, oh, look, here's more music, here's politics. You know, like, big deal. And then, meanwhile, they're just filling the live feed with that. Some other people agreed that they saw it, too. Now, obviously, you can't listen to a troll in chat, obviously. But I've definitely seen evidence of it's me not being the only one. Of, somebody talking about, just sort of in context, like in a podcast where they're talking to somebody, and it almost sounds like that's kind of what they're making reference to. Like, it's a general thing people are aware of, and it just sounds bad when you talk about it, so you don't talk about it. What the hell? What the hell? So therefore, because it sounds bad... Oh. So therefore, nobody that watches YouTube, like, authorities and stuff like that, have any idea this is going on. Oh. 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 Why isn't YouTube reporting it? All the times that I showed it on stream, I was sitting here and I showed just how many I could just swipe up one time and show, and it just like every single one. For how long did I do that? I feel like that's enough that it's YouTube's problem. They need to deal with that. What? It's happening for months? Like every day, and then again, I'm losing all my trending, so I'm like, all right, let's see what they are trending, and then that's it, and that's how. Oh, okay, so they're getting all of my trending. I see, and then I'm showing it, and then sure enough, all this trending comes in. Oh, wow! Genius! Mind blown! Wow! Oh, this is really hard stuff to figure out how to do. God. So all because I said that and told you exactly how live streaming works, and then everybody's just scamming it, and that's YouTube's problem. They're trying to kill my channel because I pointed out YouTube's problem. Yep, that's it. All you gotta do is sit here and react or show a stream of whoever is you know, trending, or, you know, that's it. Bam. Yep. That's it. And they know that. They know the scammers figured it out. And everybody else is like, keep it to yourself. And all the big streamers are like, keep it to yourself. Like, I get it. I understand for the sake of not telling people and not educating everybody. But yeah, and then there's buffering. And then there's buffering. I get it. But at this point, scammers know. Listen, if scammers know, I want everybody to know. That's my motto. And that's where I am with martial arts too. Because there's a lot of guys that I would consider scammers in like the martial arts field, like teaching karate and stuff like that. And they're just fucking idiots. And they're going to teach somebody wrong. And that person's going to think they're going to be able to defend themselves. And they're going to be humbled really quick. And it might not even be a humble. It might be an attack. That's just gotta realize. And it looks like a fat slob that doesn't do the push-ups anymore, that doesn't do the sit-ups anymore, that doesn't even run anymore. It looks like that. Does that sound familiar? Does it sound like, oh, I don't know. Maybe some of the authorities that you've seen? Do you know that fat people get a regular dose of toxins in their brain? Did you know that? It's stored in their fat. So what are you doing to combat that? Are you doing your exercise, or are you just gonna sit around and keep eating your Funyuns? I think it's really interesting the severity of problems that we have with policing in this country, where it's to the issue where people are actually sitting here and afraid to say anything about police because police are literally like fucking mafia that would actually do illegal shit to harass you. What the hell? No, they're citizens getting paid to do a job that they're not even doing. No. They do not get to be scammers while hiding behind a badge and a gun. It's not what they get to do. And that's what a lot of them do. They sit here and they waste your tax dollars and resources incriminating people, trying to make people look bad that they just don't like. And the rich people are paying them to do it. That's what's really going on. That's what you gotta understand. Cops don't have any fucking clue. Regular cops don't know how it works. Especially the fat fucks that sit here being chief of police of a local police station for 20 plus years, and nobody else puts anyone in that position. And then you see the corruption. You see that they're manipulated simply by who. Oh, right, you're registered Republican? Okay, he'll play ball. And so all they do is go around to the police stations that are registered Republican. Because now it's a fucking cult. Starting to add things up. Yeah, and then meanwhile, these police don't understand that they're dumb and, like, literally dumb to these things, too. They're going to get breached, and all of their information's going to get looked at. And I'm not talking about legitimate authorities that are smart with these things, probably state authorities and stuff like that. I'm not talking about that. Because usually state authorities, like state police and stuff, for the most part, they're pretty professional. For the most part. That's not who I'm talking about. Because that is what you will find, for the most part. I'm talking local departments that sit here and operate under this district, this fucking cult. Oh, right, so if the goddamn Amish have a fucking $1 billion cash crop sitting here and they're lying to the federal government and the IRS about it, oh, that's in the stream. Interesting. Very fascinating how they just sat here and tried to hack the stream. I had an indicator right after saying that they just sat here and tried to end the stream. How interesting. Boy, that is some fascinating stuff. Yeah, I literally just watched them sit here and try to end the stream. Wow, this is some fascinating stuff. It's really amazing what the local police departments spend their time doing. I mean, truthfully amazing. And remember, this is all after all I had to do was drive around the area and talk about road rage incidents. Yeah, like literally I'm just minding my own business and all these faggots that get away with conducting crime are suddenly all triggered and pissed off that they're being recorded. Oh, right, that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's what you got recorded doing. Kind of like the asshole with the trailer hitch that thought he was gonna illegally pass me and go speeding off down the road, but then conveniently also turn and drive the same way I see all the cops drive that do that too. Oops. The feds know. Trust me, they know. They've been watching it. It's got nothing to do with me. This is all because the feds have already been watching it. And you're literally sitting here thinking that has anything to do with me? No, the feds have been watching you for a while. Yeah, it has nothing to do with me. Yeah. They've been watching you for... it's... You're so dumb! Oh my god, you're so stupid. Alright, let's look at some screenshots. I'm not gonna comment on what just happened. Let's look at some screenshots. The Sony punk. Tell me that you type in all caps. Tell me you type in all caps in chats without telling me you type in all caps in chats. The Sony punk comes in here. I haven't seen you in forever. Tell me you type in all caps in chats without telling me you type in all caps in chats. That's so funny, dude. Everything's a conspiracy. He didn't just leave his caps lock on for a different reason. Everything's a conspiracy. Okay. That's why I just said that. It was just a joke. Actually, I think I've showed you most of the screenshots I had. What is this one? I don't know what this one's supposed to be. I don't know why I'm showing this. Why am I showing this? Oh, I'm showing this. Okay, so if you see, this is even happening now. This is some of the crap that I'm seeing where we have like 156 likes. Maybe some of you aren't seeing it. Right now, the stream that you're currently watching is according to the counter at 456 likes. So much like the screenshot you're looking at here, it says 156 likes. I'm gonna make that a little bigger for you. And then you can see for concurrent viewers it says 5, but total views is 29. So how's there 156 likes on that stream? So, you know, obviously seeing the concurrent counter, and we can also kind of deduce based on the time the stream has gone on, about 2.5 hours, there's probably more viewers than 29 too. Like, you can just kind of tell. Like, that's a lot of viewers to say there's 29. 2.5 hours of like a consistent, you know, 7, like somewhere between like 7 and 4. That's more than 29. So I personally think this is a lot of what YouTube, they can't accurately count anything because of all the scamming that's going on. And somebody's legitimately screwing with their reporting system. And I've tried to show them that organically, but they don't, I guess they don't get it. I don't know what there is to get about that. So, like, whoever's doing your reporting system is the scammer. Like, they're a fucking faggot screwing the whole thing up. Get rid of the person. It's that simple, man. Like, what are you doing? These birds listen to everything we say. Most people. Now, I am an exception to this because of where I am from. So that's actually partially why I'm being targeted, because they kind of figured this out. So they're really trying to get this to happen. Most people are in like citified, sort of more urban areas, and there's cameras. There's, at any given time, from about a 30 block to a 30 block radius, there could be between, I'd say, about 200 to 2,000 cell phones. That's a rough estimate. And maybe even more. And if you, as a scammer, if you can rationalize that and start using cameras, signals, all these devices that use, excuse me, illegally unregulated 5G technology, which the cell phones have now started using, and they shouldn't. Again, I'm not talking about 5G causing some sort of cancer or ridiculous bullshit like this. Stop it with the fucking nonsense, okay? I'm talking about how it's unregulated, and it can, again, the thing that I said about the router, the 5G connection. The The reason why you don't say that is because it's only for IT developers. It's not. It's actually not even supposed to be for your cable guy. It's supposed to be for like IT people, devs, just IT support in general, so that they can use that to do quick transfers and stuff like that to fix things they need to fix and get ahead of it. It's not for the general masses. And so when you're on a 5G signal and every device is on this now, nothing's running at 2.4 anymore. It's all running at 5. It's twice that. Now you're looking at Bluetooth going through the air and possibly powering things. This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to actually amplify signals that you can't see with your own eyes to power something, and it's like blowing shit up, it's surging things, and truthfully, it's a signal. Again, Bluetooth itself is a wireless signal, and it does charge devices. So all these Bluetooth devices, all this 5G signal that is that's what Bluetooth runs at. Now, no, it can run at. So, obviously when you have a signal way higher than it needs to be, you give anybody the grade that they need to wirelessly do these things. There's a regulation. Everybody's just doing it. Trump doesn't understand that. The GOP sure as hell don't. That grand old piece of garbage don't understand that. The grand old propaganda train don't understand that. The idiots, the lobbyists that want to sell them on all your data, they sure do. They know it. So, is Jeff Bezos behind it? Probably not. What the hell does he have to do with this stuff? Zuckerberg? I could believe him. Musk? I could believe him. So again, you had these billionaires that with this tech knowledge, and you're not regulating them. You're just letting them. Bad. Stupid. Moronic. You're not capping their wealth, so they're hoarding it all. They don't need it. It's their one person. And now, just because they got lucky and capitalized on everything. So again, if you know what capitalism is doing in this country, all it takes is for you to have $1 million, as Trump reminded you all, and yeah, you can turn it into whatever the fuck you want. So that's why people who are coming from other countries, who he's selling gold cards to, who have the money to invest, can. Because he knows capitalism is what's destroying everything. The richer you are, therefore you can survive. That's why certain content creators live above this and they don't fucking understand it. They don't. They really don't. You know, especially some of these people that are sitting here now is the greatest time to be alive and dumb fucking comments like that. Well, again, if you can just sit here and throw some money at something and make it go away, for you, yes it is. Yes it is. Good job. Good job bragging about that. Most people, it's not the case. Most people, it is quite frankly the polar opposite, and you are rubbing that in. So, because from your perspective, the companies want you to feel like this. They're painting it this way to get you to fight with these people, to not help them. They're painting this in such a way that you worked for it. The fuck did you do? What the fuck did you do? You made some content? So you got lucky that content got views and took off. And somebody didn't fucking harass you and steal it all. Yeah. Yes. You didn't make it. You didn't make that luck. You didn't make anything. You capitalized. Recognize it. That's what's been going on. That's why people are pissed off. That's why the people are saying certain people are the problem. Doesn't mean you attack them. You call them out. They are, quite frankly, more willing to listen to somebody who has the balls to sit there and call them out than somebody that's going to sit here and threaten them. Because it doesn't take any balls to sit here and... You're just sitting behind a keyboard making empty threats, man. No, it takes some balls to sit here and actually have a valid criticism and back it up and stick to it and not let other people criticize that. That's what takes balls. None of these other people that, like, they're just sitting here getting content and trying to get views off of shitting on popular creators because it connects the data, which is exactly what the scammer wants. So it just causes this endless rift. It's just a civil war. Manifested and created all by your rich companies that are capitalizing off of you and keeping you in the dark. And you can sit here and be like, oh, conspiracy, do. Or again, rationalize that I just connected all the dots, added it all up, and this is very real. It's only a conspiracy until you prove it. Well, this is happening. It's been happening. Other people are seeing it happen. Coming here and noticing because we have answers and we've been paying attention. So, this whole thing with drones and fucking birds listening to what you say and ridiculous shit like that. What do you care? I just... My whole thing with that is... I actually care less about public stuff, because again, it's public. You have the right to do stuff in public, record, monitor. It's what you do. Statistics, data, that's what we do. Okay, so that stuff we're going to talk about that. We can talk about that on all day, but I'm talking about stuff where we're using illegal means to invade people's privacy, spy on them in their homes. We're talking about Bluetooth tech that, if amplified, again, remember, I have a connection to my phone I cannot sever. Where somebody is, again, my entire Facebook feed loads, no matter whether I'm connected to data or not. No, completely severed from any type of connection. No service whatsoever. I put that thing in a Faraday bag. And I can still load my entire Facebook timeline feed, like the whole thing. I can load text messages and I can load emails. Why? There's no connection there. Yes. These companies are playing ball. So, what the warning that I have for them is that you don't want this for the sake that now authorities will do to you what they are already doing. They will eventually just do it to you. And again, this technology, this 5G, again, it's a way of using illegal tech to start doing things like making things to spy on people better, like the technology to be able to look inside somebody's home and see everything that's going on. Just simply use it, sort of like sonar kind of, but using like data signal. It's not right. I'm okay with it for spying purposes and development of that, but I'm not okay with it obviously being used. Like, that's CIA tech. Why is that being used here? That's my point. Just like the TV thing. I'm aware it exists. Why is it being used here? Doesn't make any sense. It's for intel. The whole point is we want to know what's going on in that room, in that country where those leaders are meeting. And they're discussing something that quite frankly could mean whether or not these two countries start doing this. This shit matters. Okay? I'm okay with it for that. Not for spying on your own citizens that have rights and freedoms. And the right to privacy. Yeah. So, like, if you say something about that, it'll be all over your feed. Yes, exactly. So that's what it's supposed to do. That's actually what they're trying to do. They're just trying to do that. That seems actually rather harmless. You're like, that... The problem is what it does. The problem is the scammers use it. The problem is now they all are just keeping files. And the concern is that it's not even... The concern isn't the amateur sitting in a call center, across the other side of the country. The concern is the people that are worth millions sitting right here that can do worse damage with that information. Using here. That's the point. Privatizing this stuff is not good. So, yes, I'm okay with it actually for the most part on the idea side of it. But it should have never been implemented until properly regulated. And that's the current administration. Like, I mean, come on. What else is not being regulated that we just need to get past the propaganda train of anything regulation is bad? It's not the case. We have regulations. We've had these. It's what a speed limit is. It's what a seatbelt is. It's what a serial number on a weapon is. There's reasons for these things. It's just to assist with crime. It's all it's for. Is not to take it away. Any person that says that states that they're a crazy person. That's a crazy person. That's somebody trying to throw propaganda on a very real thing you need to do. Regulation. If we just continue polluting the atmosphere, bad crap happens. We know that. So why would you do it? Why would you go backwards and start undoing those regulations? Jeez. Well, that's the problem. He does this. The current administration undoes regulate. I mean, Jesus, they're okay with dumping oil waste in waterways. They undid that regulation. They undid that regulation. They ain't too concerned with, scammers sitting in here just screwing around with people learning their data. They don't care. They don't see a danger in it. If they don't know and understand the dangers of dumping waste into clean water, they aren't going to understand the dangers of scams on YouTube. There's no fucking way. They can't understand anything. I mean, I'm genuinely surprised they understand government. Any of them. Because I feel like some of them don't. You know, just to think that an oligarchy would be sustainable, you know? It is... It's a matter of some math, man. So anyway, that's just what's going on. We're getting suppressed. We're losing views. I get views. They lie about them. The whole point is that you are getting view about it. It's happening a lot, and so YouTube's mistakenly removing just a ton. So since I started documenting this, calling it out, they're sitting here and they are like, and they're removing way more than they should be. Because again, they can't count it. They're not counting it properly. That is definitively obvious at this point. So, basically, you just should notice that it's enough companies, you know, individually starting to align themselves this way. You know, it's a type of thinking where they would never do this normally, but because he does it this way for so long, now it's, you know, it's just like that thing where I told you they, unfortunately, when they do something long enough, it overrides that logic where you would know something's wrong with this, and now just because you've done it this way for this long, you know, you're just used to doing it that way. That's what they're obviously trying to do, is just, you know, get everybody used to, this is just the way things are, and stuff like that. It's like the concept where I already explained a lot of the issues of society and stuff like that, is just the fact that not enough people anymore, you know, like, we were getting past this, we were taking steps past this, but obviously wouldn't happen. But, you know, like the concept of shortening somebody's workday and giving them more options and opportunities, or maybe even lengthening the workday but shortening the work week, but giving them, you know, obviously giving them options and opportunities to have the resources, the proper amount of pay and stuff like that to justify, you know, like you can have a job and then also be able to have some sort of healthy balance of something that the citizen wants to work on and achieve as a life goal of their own and stuff like that, where somebody's actively killing culture and they know how to do it, where they're just causing, and again, I think it's Trump, where they're just causing work days to be longer, people to spend more time at work, driving, you know, just away, just simply perpetuating this to stay ill-informed, misinformed. Because again, I have pointed out that most of the people, I've recognized this is a problem, most of the people that are misinformed are just people that spend time working non-stop. That's all they do, because again, like, that's the point. That's why they're not informed, because they can't look at their phone at work, they can't see a TV at work. That's what makes sense. They're busy, engaged in those activities. And then when they get out of work, they really just don't want to stress about it. Politics have been so stressful under this regime. They don't want to deal with it. They just want simple, declarative, he's going to make it better. Okay, so let's watch Fox and everything will be okay. That's what you got to realize what's happening. The whole point is that it's just perpetuating, if you work really hard, you'll obtain happy. Like, what's the point? So you can endlessly come home to these people that feed you bullshit lies and they're richer than you ever will be and they can get drunk every night. Yeah, like that's the reality of it. And then meanwhile, you're working super hard just to do this or that and stuff like that. And what's the point? So, this is a real problem. And Democrats were handling it. So that's obviously why he wanted to sit here and make you forget that. You know, we're people that wanted to work harder and liked working, like overtime, stuff like that, were allowed to do that. And now, you know, oh man. But, yeah, that's just a different way of thinking. You know, like the whole point is to be able to have the freedoms, you know, like it's not just one type of way of thinking, you know, or just everybody has to do this. And again, it's just a further perpetuation of the cycle and not a way of life. Is a real problem. And that's why everybody's stressed out in their vehicles too. That's why. Because they don't have any time. They have very limited, and they're trying to speed around to get everywhere and stuff like that. I mean, it's true. It's literally what's happening. And again, that's the only real free time they have, and they spend it being stressed because, you know, like, somebody's driving the speed limit and they're late already, you know, or something like that. Obviously, being unsafe and dangerous doesn't help you get to your destination faster. It makes things worse. So the whole point is that normal people, regular adults, should rationalize this and be able to regularly do this, their brains. And I can see a generalized populace that cannot. Most people can't. I see huge amounts of cars in traffic on the highways and stuff. When they know there's a line of cars, so many people will sit here and speed all the way up in front, just to dart in front, and make the rest of the line get further back, and not rationalize that this type of thinking is what caused that line in the first place. If everybody would have kept a safe distance and kept traffic flowing by keeping a safe distance, the people that were doing that would just do that and nobody'd have to stop because there would be space for them to get in. But everybody's not letting anybody in, so nobody can get in, and because everybody's like, oh, this jackass, I waited here. What the hell's your problem? Leave some space. So that those people, like, you're causing the problem. You're literally doing that. That's why those people rationalize doing that. Oh, these assholes are sitting there doing that. I'm just going to speed ahead of the line then. There's two types of ways of thinking. Both people are wrong. Stop doing this. And then you can't sit there and deduce what's wrong about your behavior. You just let everybody else manipulate you. So keep that safe distance. I mean, geez, if you let in a bunch of cars, yeah. I understand it seems like you're getting further back and it's frustrating, but the more you respond with that, the more other people will do it. You should live by the concept when you're driving, especially driving, you should live by the concept that if everybody lets one car out, you know, like you're sitting there, you're in traffic, there's space, if everybody let one car out, nobody would wait. Use that mathematical concept. It's as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. Really is that basic. That's why it's so annoying to an intellectual that's driving, somebody that can deduce this and just go, oh my god, these angry assholes that are just swerving around all over the place and jerking in front of people and stuff like that. And they're just like, if only they would just stop being angry assholes, then there would be no traffic. So it's literally them causing it. And then again, the same types of thinking of the other people that don't want them to do it and try to force them not to by being too close and riding the bumper of the person in front of them so they can't merge. It's like, why do you think they're doing that? Because they probably sat there for like a good 15, 30 seconds, couldn't merge, so they sped out of the line or something. Why do you think some of these guys get big trucks? Because they can't merge. It helps them merge. Yeah. It's intimidating. I've certainly heard it before, too. People get out of your way. I've heard that. Why do you get a big truck? Because people get out of your way. I've heard that. That's a problem. That needs dealt with. So, I mean, it's as simple as knowing the fact that I can very easily, being an intelligent, educated person, figure out a solution to a bunch of problems that nobody's doing. And so because I'm talking about that and stuff like that, instead of them doing these things, they're just harassing me and being all triggered and upset instead of just them doing it. I will say that I think it's incredibly telling of politicians, especially as politicians in the state, where I'm doing this and I seemingly get harassed instead of them just doing those things. You know, like I seemingly just have more problems. Almost like, you know, they know they've been caught making really dumb decisions that have been harming my life forever. You know, like the dumb things about all the stones on the road, where endlessly I had to replace all these tires over the years. I had all these different problems with things and stuff like that. And these idiots, for as long as I can remember, have been dumping stones, like stones, like loose stones, to the road. And just smacking against the bottoms of the vehicles and stuff like that. Just every day you drive on them. You have any idea that it with certain cars, this literally causes brake calipers to seize up? So you're doing that. You're causing all these brake calipers to seize up. You. Not being a complete retard about the fact that you simply didn't understand that stones smacking against the underside of a vehicle causes damage. Wow. Pretty fucking stupid. It just sounds like you don't care. The whole point is that I'm sitting here proving to the rest of the state that these faggots that are running the state don't give a shit. And I do. That's what I'm proving. I'm proving that I give a shit because I have solutions that are easy to do. So why the fuck can I come up with them and these motherfuckers never can? Gee, I wonder who's harassing me. Duh! So anybody else, again, that's in like a state or something like that, or near a state, if you're in Canada and you're near a state, think about the state that you're near. Anybody that's near a state, okay? Think about who your politician is and who is actually running things in your state. And remember, all this started after Tom Wolf. Remember, he was a governor since forever. And then this new guy came in, and the very second that this new guy came in, people are attacking him. They don't like him. That's what I heard. I heard like people are just like attacking this guy and stuff like that. Gee, I wonder if he did something. Now, I'm not saying that's always the case. But you know what I mean? Like I just wonder about that. That's all. And I definitely don't condone that. That's really messed up. But I just wonder about like just like right away. Did that happen with Wolf? Is that a normal thing? I mean, it's just a normal thing with politicians now. I don't know. But, again, seemingly all these problems... And again, gerrymandering, people were... Tom Wolf, gerrymandering. Duh! Everybody gerrymanders. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Everybody does it. Shut the fuck up. Everybody. Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about? Shut up. Everybody gerrymanders. You're sitting here like, Tom Wolf gerrymanders. Everybody gerrymanders. Republicans, Democrats. I can't roll my eyes hard enough, okay? They shouldn't do it, but everybody does it. Rolls my eyes. Yeah, you're going to bitch about him doing it. Bitch about the Republicans, too, okay? I don't give a shit anymore, okay? They shouldn't do it. Blah, blah, blah. We'll bitch about something else. Tom Wolf ran the state. Yeah, things were challenged, but it seemed like things were a little bit better. Now? I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know. And we seem to be voting more red lately, which is dumb. Well, it means our education's definitely going down the hill. Yes. I think just generally speaking, the people in this state are less educated. Yes, I do believe that. Except professionals. People in the medical field and stuff like that. They know. Yeah. Other than that, first responders, a good bit of them are very uneducated people. The first responders in this state. They do not get educated very well. And that was a lot of what my research told me. They just, again, the police academy in this state, the way that people become flat out, to become a goddamn firefighter, all you gotta go is visit your local fire station and volunteer. And then you're on the scene with the first responders and the responsibilities and the very heavy weight that carries. Look, man, I'm all for volunteers and I'm all for what they do and stuff, and I understand that we need them. Otherwise, you know, how would you? I get it. But you have to have funding, you have to have infrastructure, you have to have education for these things. These they're not being educated properly. And it was already bad initially. It was already not enough. Now that technology is just well past, like anything new that's coming out, and they're teaching the same shit that they always did, it's just behind. The amount of times I hear about a firefighter like lost their life or something because of oxygen deprivation or some sort of stupid thing that could have been preventable because of the education. Because literally that firefighter wasn't given enough knowledge while in that house to understand certain things about the body to properly protect himself. Because you can do it. You don't have to sit there and fucking breathe carbon dioxide. You can lower your oxygen intake. Do you know that you can do that? Oh, imagine having some smart person that can tell you how to lower your oxygen intake and so thus not constantly fucking poisoning yourself with carbon. Oh, no, wow, imagine that. And it's like, I mean, I understand, like, these things happen. You're going to have times where you don't have a mask, but, like, imagine there are these folks that you've just never heard from. You never knew that you could do something like that. And now it sounds like a magic trick and you want to know how to do it. That's what you got to realize about what the internet was supposed to do. You know, I was supposed to come on here and be able to share, you know, ideas and concepts that I could extrapolate from being the martial arts instructor, you know, like the vast knowledge that people don't understand from mastering a skill like that. I mean, truthfully, there's more things that you can learn from that than you could possibly imagine that you can translate to other things, and that's going to be different for everybody that learns it. You know, they're going to figure different things out because of their different experiences in life too, and extrapolate that too. So, just like any other creator that has this experience, this wisdom, I should be able to come on here and be able to extrapolate and teach you these things. Somebody shouldn't come on here and be like, he can't do that, you know, and stuff like that. Because that's messed up. That's what Bruce Lee tried to do. Now, I personally think that China may have been involved, but I don't. Yeah, it's just my little personal. A lot of that stuff, it's really hard to say because their investigative techniques weren't the greatest. Certain times of certain time period. It's funny. Certain time periods before that, they actually were. It's almost like time period stuff is a little foggy, you know. Oh, and there's political reasons. So, you have to realize, like, the 1-inch punch, like, things like this are just concepts very simply taught. And, like, this is what, like, Bruce Lee was trying to do, too, where, like, it's just very basic things that most people should probably be able to figure out by now that were their martial arts. Doesn't mean you're going to be Bruce Lee's level. But, you know, just, like, basic understanding of like me telling you don't punch like this, you punch like this, and there's reasons for that. And why, and understanding why. So, this is some of the stuff he was doing, and like other people do this stuff too. And you have to realize that there's always some sort of capitalistic mindset where somebody's like, he can't do that. That's free speech. You know, it's just like when the FBI sat here. Wasn't the FBI? I think it was the FBI, where they sat here and literally covered up the Tesla coil. Like, basically the technology of Nikola Tesla, framed it as Thomas Edison came up with all this shit, slowly released things over time, and then you just never learn anything about Nikola Tesla, and that this guy was literally a genius way before his time. We probably would have figured a lot of things out, but the FBI was really worried about the enemy finding out about a Tesla coil and stuff like that. So their anxiety of what would happen prevented us from developing technology sooner. And they just covered it up, lied. So the question is, how much of this has happened already? Where somebody is sitting here, they have all the answers, they're saying things, and they're like, what the hell? You know, and they're all like, oh man, what if the enemy gets this? And dirk-a-dirk-a-dee-dirk-a-dee-dur. I suspect that this is the concern with, like, martial arts and stuff like that. But I submit to you that in modern day it does not matter with military, with that stuff. What are we talking about here? Like, really? I mean, most military, like, you're talking about drone strikes and planes and stuff like that. What are you concerned about me? So, with this stuff like that, that's going to be foreign stuff where it's like countries that would have to, you know, like where that becomes more of a factor if that's happening. So that's where I would say is you can kind of use that type of logic to figure it out for yourself a little bit, with stuff like that. Where if you rationalize that, well, in the U.S. that wouldn't make any sense because again, that wouldn't really matter with us. But yeah, other countries where that's more of a factor, where we're talking about individual troops instead of like an airborne military or a navy or something like that. Yeah, obviously then stuff like that, that's a much bigger factor for sure. For sure. Response times, like just so many things. A lot of it's readiness. So anyway, that's what's been going on here. I don't think I have any more actual screenshots here. Let's see. Yeah. I don't think I have any actual other... I think I showed you all of them. I was just trying to look through them again. For the most part, I think I showed all of them to you. Like the ones I was going to show you. So, you can kind of see... I've shown some stuff before, too, where we're getting views removed and stuff, but that, you know, the several thousand that were removed from that, you know, Dark Souls stream, that's pretty obvious. That's sort of what I've been seeing happening a lot. We talked about how even when I was doing mobile streams, it was the sort of thing where I would show you the end of the, you know, the view count at the end of that would show me like tens of thousands, you know, like 15,000 or something like that views. And then, you know, like I would check it on the site and it would just, you know, they would already have removed it all. It would be just, like, you know, down to a few hundred or whatever. So, I definitely think that they are capping people, and I think that I think a lot of it's the shorts, because your shorts have so much data connected to them. So you notice how, remember I talked about this before, shorts were the sort of thing where that helps promote, that's a good promotional tool. And all around me getting like a ton of views through shorts, like remember I was starting to get a bunch of views through my martial arts shorts all of a sudden. All of a sudden, through me getting like a ton of views through that, they seemingly sat here and started kind of capping that too, where you could only gain a certain amount quickly enough. You know, where they were slowing them down. And then once it processes, they stop. Once it posts with the views that it posts with, that's it. So the whole point is they're like they're not finishing the counting process, and they're like backing it up with like VPNs and stuff like that. So, you know, it's bad. But that's what's been going on. Trying to think, I don't think there's really much else I had to say. For the most part, like I don't really have any real beef or hate towards anybody on the platform or anything like that. There's some people that got scammed so horribly that they had to sort of separate and cause like a sort of a separation and stuff like that, and just handle things differently. Especially if somebody has a certain behavior that's toxic, scammers and stuff like that, they will abuse that and take advantage of that horribly. So, that's why like I have to be a certain way with that. You know, it's not like I don't think you have the right to have your free speech or to be trolly or have negative comments or anything, but just realize that any type of behavior that's sort of more like that, I have to kind of eliminate that right away, because scammers look for that, and they will manipulate, and they will use that, and they will use you. They will try to manipulate you. So I just try to eliminate that before it becomes a really obvious problem, and people see what the person could be. Or if somebody spends a lot of time in my chat, and I thought that you were using like a real picture of yourself or something like that, I tried to get you to realize without stating what they would do, but you didn't seem to really kind of get it. So maybe I blocked you or something like that. Again, trying to give you a hint without stating what it is. So don't use your real picture as your YouTube icon. Don't do that. Especially if you're going to be sitting here typing in live chats. Don't do that. Don't give them... I mean, come on. All they got to do... They put that stuff in AI now. Come on. Don't do that. So anyway, yeah, the stuff about going back to the stuff about what you say and stuff like that. Again, I said that I actually think that's okay for the most part, but the problem is then regulating and making sure it's used properly and not improperly, which obviously it's being used improperly. And then, of course, the idea is that it's only a machine, only an AI that does that, so that way it's not invasion of privacy. You don't want a person hearing that stuff, and it essentially just converting it to whatever data it should be, never permanently storing the person's said message. Just translate it to text code so that you know what the data is, and immediately wipe that so that you're not keeping a recording of the person. That's how you should regulate it for the law, because the law in a lot of states sort of gets funny with keeping recordings of people unbeknownst to them. So what you want to do is you want to just have it record the information on sort of like, again, a basic coding level, where it's just like a notepad text type of document. You're just writing these things down from, the AI records these things, and then wipes the recording. And the whole purpose of the AI is for that, so that a real person's not doing that anymore, and not holding on to that information, keeping personal tabs and stuff. That was the whole point. And the whole point is, it's almost like it's gotten worse with that, where now, because it's automated, certain people are seeing that. So I think that it's not being regulated properly, because again, no real it's supposed to be better. So the point is, he claimed he's unregulating AI, but again, not necessarily the right sort of approach. And it's also not necessarily true. I don't think it's necessarily 100% true what he said when he's not regulating it. Like, it's just what he wants you to see is not regulating. Obviously, Gemini. Obviously, we know Gemini is being messed with when it gets things. It gets the very basic things wrong that you could Google. Obviously, something going on there. Gemini is the most comprehensive. I mean, they had to shut that thing down. That thing was scary good. So anyway, I think that about covers it. Generally speaking, I don't spend a whole lot of time. I don't go around to, a lot of. I get trolled a lot, and if you see me in your chat, please confirm it's me. Go to the channel, do what you have to do. Otherwise, it's probably a troll. It's probably one of these people making their accounts or something like that. But again, make sure it's not, because again, I don't. Once in a while, I will try to support a channel and be nice and just state said support so that way, to just try to help, just be like a great channel or something like that. But again, I don't try to linger. I don't try to, because again, you shouldn't be a content creator trying to get into, attention or anything like that. It's not for that. It's like, hey, I support this, or something like that. So, yeah, I truthfully won't do that on a regular, and don't expect that. You don't have to be worried about that. I won't. You don't have to have any anxiety. I'm gonna be sitting here and doing that. Don't anybody be worried about that. I will never sit here and make a regular habit of coming in your chat or anything. You don't have to worry about that. So again, if you see that on a regular, aside from maybe like a couple of times, again, if it happens ever, still confirm it's me, because I really don't ever do that. Hardly ever. But especially if it looks trolly, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to come in usually and try to be nice. Maybe I'll state my opinion, or depends on the chat on what it's talking about. But again, it's mainly, I don't spend time in chats. I really don't. So I just want to reiterate that if you see that, it's a good chance somebody's making an account, and they've done it. They have done it. So just confirm if it's me or if it's a scam or something like that, please, because they are, they're doing that to, you saw the picture earlier. I showed you a screenshot of them doing it to another channel. They already did it too, just because, again, I would talk good about this channel. I would talk about, how they stop people like that and stuff like that. So obviously it was to try to cause a problem. So rest assured they will try. And sorry about that. There's nothing I can do about that. It's on YouTube. But again, it's not something I spend time doing. So if you're in question, again, just look at just look at it. Make sure it's not a troll. It's good chance it's not me. I am not sitting here. I have never sat here and trolled anybody. I have never sat here and just done that. I won't do it. Even Asmongold, I go onto his channel. The only comments you'll see from me are very supportive, positive comments. Because again, I support him. He's well, you guys know he was the one I said was probably my favorite streamer. He probably still is. So, I think he's pretty much the best. So again, that I just want to always support that and that notion, and not regardless of my opinion about certain things that he has opinions about and stuff like that. Doesn't change my feelings on him as a streamer or something. Like feel some sort of hateful thing toward him or something like that. No, I don't do these things. If anything, when I found out about the guy that was being really brutally honest, but also just dumb about it towards Asmongold. Yeah, of course I commented and had to be like, okay, the guy's not dumb. This guy was calling him dumb and stuff like that. If there's one thing I will support, there's a lot of stupid people out there, and you got to own up to it if you are. Asmongold is not one of them. This guy's not stupid. So, that was one thing I at least had to back him up. The guy's pretty intelligent. And most people that know him, I think, can recognize that. So if you're just sitting here calling him dumb, you're just trying to bully the guy. You're just gonna look like a bully. That's what you're trying to do. It's gonna be obvious. So I had to throw that support out there, that I was recognizing that he was showing that guy for what he was, and I was willing to support that notion. He's getting bullied, and then flat out I was getting likes on that comment too. I think I was getting a bunch of likes, and then they really quickly started removing all the likes. I think it's sitting there with no likes. YouTube did this. Yeah, so like I know that they're they're aware and they're trying to like give it likes or something like that, and they probably saw that too. So it's pretty crazy. Like a lot of channels have become aware of this, where it's I might post a comment and somebody shows up and trolls the comments with a bunch of scam accounts totally made up, and they might even say Donald Trump or something like that. And remember, I'm the one that created that fake name. So they're trying to throw shade on the fact that this was really funny and it may have taken off. So they tried to throw shade on that. No, I assure you, I said that first, and that was just a troll scammer sitting there trying to throw shade on that. It's still funny, and it's still a funny way to make fun of his name. I love sitting here and saying their names intentionally wrong. So yeah, no, the scam accounts that you see, they're just trying to use things that I'm talking about, and then again connecting the data and stuff like that. So just realize, not me, just scams. I'm reporting, they're happening to me too. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps you figure out kind of like a little bit what's going on. There's times where I see something pretty serious and it's very obvious that they've already done some of the damage, so I have to sort of kind of, again, pretend to be a certain way or something like that, and to throw them off a bit. I'm wasting their time sort of thing. So just realize that's what I'm trying to do there. I'm just trying to, throw them off a little bit. But again, while educating you and trying to, as best that I can, without doing so with them. So thanks for watching. Thanks for updating yourselves on this subject, and I will probably get going now. I think that's all I have. So all right, we had a peak concurrent of 2,400 views. Right now we have 10 people in here and 9 likes on the stream, and YouTube is counting 39 total views. Now, I really want to reiterate something to you. They are really trying to lie. So a lot of times when I state what the view count is at, I will end the stream, and no lie, this has happened so many times now. As soon as I state what the view count is and I end the stream, they've added like 2-3 times the amount of views to the posted view count after I state what it actually supposedly is. So that's why it's like completely inconclusive. So I'll show that, and then it posts with, and then they just lie. They just, oh, okay, 117. And then, I sit here and I watch it over the next course of a few days, just just lose those. So it's completely made up. They're not counting your views. They're just trying to give you what they think you're supposed to get based on your traffic, your subscriber count, your trending, who's talking about you, that's your trending, that sort of thing. It's so messed up. Like, again, it's you remember the whole merit-based system that he's trying to do? Yeah, I think it has to do with that. Like the merit is obviously based on how much you would support, his goals and him, obviously, and wouldn't be sitting here talking bad about him. I truthfully think that has something to do with that, as we've noticed the bitrate shift from me saying certain things about GOP candidates, GOP people in office, candidates, GOP people in office. Anyway, I should digress now. I digress now, and I'm gonna get off here before I continue on about all this nonsense that's been going on. Thank you so much, guys, for watching and trying to give me views. All the views that you've been showing up to give me, I appreciate that. Again, It was helping. It was helping. It really was, and I appreciate it, because you're seeing it get removed too. Everybody's seeing it happen. So appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you.